Hey friends, so welcome to DBC Live. I'm so excited that you decided to join us tonight. Of course, we have Dave on the show.
Tara, how you doing tonight?
Awesome. What about you?
I'm doing great. Hey, as you're popping in, please throw your name over into the comments. Tell us where you are uh, watching from, and anybody that's over there, you could possibly win a book. We'll choose a book winner.
Yeah, and today's kind of cool because you have Dave and I, so that means that you get to choose what book you receive from our DBC bookstore. So it's actually even more fun than just getting the book of whoever we're talking to on that day.
Awesome. Hey, it looks like a new format for showing the comments. They look like small and different.
Yeah, do you want me to fix that?
Yeah. So Ryan, good. Thank you for joining us, Ryan. Kristen is here. Thanks, Kristen. I see Patty is here. Thank you so much for jumping in from Texas. All right, cool. I'll be headed to Texas pretty soon. Hopefully you all will keep it safe for me. There we go. There they are. Yet with my eyes, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get my reading glasses to read these things.
I
Yeah.
got you, bro. I got you.
Monica Yesenia's here. Robin's here. Awesome. Very cool. Hey, by the way, Kristen, just in case we don't get a chance to connect tomorrow, Kristen is, I believe, a New Year's Eve baby. And so one day early, happy birthday to Kristen.
Happy birthday. That's fun.
Yeah, Madame Anik from Winnipeg is here. So, Anik, we want to know how cold it is there.
I saw her post a screenshot recently. She said she even had limits on when she would run outside. And it was like, feels like negative 44 or something. I'm like, yeah, no.
Amy, thank you so much for joining us. I see Amy's popping in here. Appreciate that. We got a good little group showing up over here.
Yeah, we do. Super fun.
I don't think you could comprehend this kind of. You are absolutely right. Are you saying that someone from part-time San Diego, part-time Hawaii wouldn't be able to understand Winnipeg cold? You are probably right.
You are right. Even Kansas can't understand that kind of cold. That is crazy.
And Robin,
hey, that's my sister.
Robin is also here from Texas.
Robin.
Oh, that is Tara Martin's sister?
Yes, that is my sister.
Hey, awesome. All right. Well, I'll be joining you in Texas before too long, although I think that you're a little further south and east than I'll be, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, well, where do you live, Robin? I think she was way south.
Yeah.
I think. I'm not 100%. She says, hey, sister. All right, so warm in Tennessee. Yeah, it's not really warm in Kansas, but it's a great temperature. It's like you have to wear a jacket, but it's not like so cold you can't stand it out there.
So I wonder.
You see where are you at in Texas? Man, we have Texas representing tonight.
No, Texas is too big. You're all gonna have to like get closer, narrow in on it for us.
So 100 miles south of Houston. Okay, it's not too far from where we grew up then.
Hey, I see Jay Billy's popped in. Jay Billy says that parts of Alaska are 64 today. Wow, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
Lisa,
welcome everyone.
Hey, so Lisa, you're in Arizona. I might have to go to Arizona next week. I might have to drive all the way to Flagstaff to remove all the stuff from my son's apartment at NAU and take it away because he's not going back this next semester. And so we subletted out his apartment. And so I might be on a long Flagstaff trip sometime next week. Megan, warm in Virginia. Look at this. There's like all kinds of crazy stuff across the country and out of the country.
Shorts and t-shirts, she said today. And Megan was a winner of our 7-day giveaway. So I'm curious, Megan, have you started either of your books and what are you thinking? I'm excited to hear about that.
So I saw Principal Ed leaders. Principal Ed was one of them. What was the other one?
Maybe lead with appreciation.
That was lead with appreciation. That's right. Yeah. Hey, Jeff, thanks for popping in.
I had so much fun choosing winners for those. Dave had the greatest idea of looking at your profiles and then deciding what books we sent you based off of what you were interested in. So that was fun because typically we just like choose all the books we're going to give away and then we send them out to you guys. But tonight also, if you're getting your name over in the comment section, every single comment is going to enter you to win a free book from our bookstore. We have a lot of books. How many books do we have, Dave?
Over 150.
Yeah, we have a lot of books to choose from in every different category. It doesn't matter what you teach, what you do, how you're feeling. If you want to read them to children, we have children's line. We have all kinds of books. So do get your comments over in the comments section. And she said she's getting lots of ideas to return for the new year. That's awesome. I'm excited. So tonight we're going to be talking about right? I think you have to, what is the DV? Oh, to get those socks.
Everybody wants the socks. They've been seeing the socks all over the social media feed. Yeah.
I was like, you don't have to be a DBC author to get a book. What? No, they're talking about the socks. They're off on a sidebar conversation. We gave away some really cool socks. If you weren't a part, we haven't been seeing the post. Dave, tell them about it.
Yeah, so that's their logo, DBC Inc. logo socks, and they have the logo all over the socks. They have like a red toe, red top, like it's they're pretty sweet. Take a look if you haven't seen it yet. It's all over the social media feeds. I think I have some in my story, certainly on Instagram at DBC_INC on Instagram. If you look at some of our authors' posts, you'll see some of the socks on there. So right now it was an end of the year author gift. We give a gift to our authors at the end of every year. One year it was sort of like a book kind of ornament type of thing. One year was a t-shirt. We gave out journals one year. And this year it is the DBC socks. So who knows? We might make them more widely available at some point, but at this point it was an end of the year author gift.
Yes, exclusive for them. We always like keeping those gifts kind of special. So,
hey, by the way, Amy, Tara, real quick, Amy says she's currently leading a book study of TLAP at her school. Amy, please connect with me. I will Zoom with you and do a question and answer and talk about the background of the book. And it's totally free, totally fun. I love to talk to book study groups. So I'll go in there and do Q&A, like informal Q&A with them and all that. So let's connect at some point. And so, Tara, do you want to talk about the topic tonight?
Totally. And I was just going to add on to that. Most all of our authors, I know I do for Be Real and Cannonball Inn, whatever, if you're doing like a book study or you're having your students read the book, like our children's book for Cannonball Inn, we love jumping in on a little Skype call, a little Zoom call and interacting with the kids and interacting with your staff. So we do that completely free. It's usually like 15, 20 minutes. So fun. So if you're interested in that, do reach out to the authors. They're almost always willing to do that if they're not like in the classroom teaching at that very second. So yeah, do that. So tonight we're going to be talking about some questions to consider at the end of the year. We did this in the TLAP chat on Monday. We also did a live on Instagram Live, but we thought we'd put it out here because first of all, this is a totally different crowd over here on Facebook most of the time. And we wanted to hear some of your responses, interact with you a little bit. And so Dave has these questions that he got from Jay Shetty's podcast. And if you haven't listened to his podcast, you totally should. It's so amazing. And it was actually, there were like 9 questions to consider at the end of the year. And Dave chose 4 of them to use for our chat. And we thought this would be great for us moving into the new year. It's maybe just a different way to think about things. And I thought at the end, Dave, we could share some of the things that we do because neither you or I set New Year's resolutions, nor do we do one words. So we do things a little bit differently. And I thought at the very end of the show, we can kind of share what we do in case people aren't interested in setting a resolution they know they're not going to keep, or maybe participating in the one word. However, if you love doing that, do that. It just kind of doesn't work for us. So we do something a little bit different.
Yeah, so for sure. So again, shout out to Jay Shetty. His podcast is called On Purpose with Jay Shetty. I just want to make sure he gets credit for inspiring the questions for the TLAP chat and for tonight's Facebook Live. And so thanks to Jay for that. He's the author of Think Like a Monk as well. And so here we go. So the first question, it's kind of the whole concept is rather than going straight to looking forward into 2022, let's take some time at the end of the year and look back and do some meaningful, powerful reflection on 2021 so that we can draw some good stuff to move forward, some information to go forward into 2022. So the first one was, in the chat, we said in one sentence, so we'll hold you to that tonight. So in one sentence, what was the most meaningful lesson you learned in 2021? So this was a crazy year. And so if you could sum up your most, if you can't choose the most, choose one of the most meaningful lessons that you learned in 2021, we would love for you to throw it over into the comments. Later, we would love you to take some time to spend some more time to reflect on that. So 2021, what's your your most meaningful lesson? Tara, what did you put?
I said that my most meaningful lesson is that I realized that fitness just served me in so many different ways. It didn't serve me only when it comes to helping my body to be healthy, but it also helped my mind to be more healthy than it's ever been. This is the first year ever that I've not had to take any kind of medication for mental health purposes at any point of the year. Not that that's a bad thing, but it's just a really awesome thing that I've been able to manage that with fitness. So I said that in one sentence. I don't remember exactly how I did it, but I did. It was like a compound sentence with a semicolon.
Yeah. So, I kind of feel like you just stole all my thunder, that was actually the one that I used in the chat too. I said that my most meaningful lesson was that incorporating some sort of movement or fitness routine was just as much a matter of mental health as it was physical health. And so that was mine. If I had to choose another one, since so they're not the same, I would say another thing that I learned in 2021 is that the world doesn't fall apart if I take a little bit of time off. And so, like, I've always thought, oh God, like if I don't do something, if I'm not on Twitter, if I'm not doing this, like the whole thing's going to come crashing down. And in 2021, it's like, oh, actually, if I just like don't log in for a day, the next day we still have a company.
Yeah.
And that was a revelation for me.
Yes. I love some of these answers too. We're getting over in the comment section. I did realize, chat, Dave and I put the same answer in the chat too, and they came out like almost simultaneously, and we didn't plan it. We just have similar goals. But I love this one from Kristen, how connecting with parents has been more important than ever. I couldn't agree more with you. And there were several that were much like Lucina's, where they talked about compassion, and multiple people in the chat were talking about how having empathy and understanding that everybody has a perspective was something that they really just kind of understood and got better at as far as for 2021. Scheduling time. Oh, Dave talked about this a little bit when we were talking in the other live, right, Dave?
Yeah. Well, and I think that there'll be some time that we'll pop into that with some of the later questions too. It's going to fit perfectly. I see Megan has popped in here with a good one too. Let's see, where is it? Boom. Oh, oops. We're like both doing it at the
same time. Sorry.
Yeah. So I love that, showing the support for others when you can, spread kindness to stop negativity. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Yes, I love all these answers getting popped in. I noticed that they're in the chat, and also tonight there's a real emphasis on a lot of people learn some important lessons about intentional self-care.
Mm-hmm. That was a common thread. That's been a common thread ever since we've talked about this all week in the multiple different places. I love this one where Jeff said he is about, I do need to refocus on my jujitsu. Yes. And I think Dawn Harris is into jujitsu as well, or there is a martial arts that she is into. So one of our authors, a new author, Plan Like a Pirate author, she is very into that, and with her family as well. Yes, I love these. So much good stuff here. Professional change. I see a lot of, like Dave said, just the importance of like listening to your body, trusting yourself, giving yourself some grace, being patient. By the way, Karen is from Australia, and she posted earlier how both of us, Dave, you and I both have spoken to her big group over there.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I've done the Cannonball in beginning of the school year for them 2 years now, and I absolutely love it. So fun to hear all the great things they're cannonballing in and trying. So this is awesome, Dave. These are great answers. Thank you. Y'all keep them coming. We have a couple more questions we want to ask too, and let you respond to.
All right, so I'll go on to question 2. I really like how the strategy that Jay used on this one. And what he was wanting you to do was reflect back on 2021 and think about what brought you the most happiness, the most joy. But he had kind of a unique take on it. And what he asked you to do was to go to your camera roll and to scroll back to January 1st on your camera roll, and then to kind of go through the pictures and to pick out which things that you, what activities, what things that you were involved in brought you the most happiness, the most joy, and to really pull those out. So Tim Ferriss does a similar thing, and he does that with his calendar. So he goes back to his calendar on January 1st and goes through like that. But I really like the camera roll one too. And then you're able to kind of pick out those places. Oh man, I really love I need to do this more. And so as you're looking forward into 2022, maybe this will be an activity that helps you pick out some stuff that you can kind of reflect on and say, like, I want a little bit more of this in my life, which is going to tie into one of the later questions too. So as you're looking, think about your pictures that you took in 2021. What brought you the most happiness and joy?
Yes. And I feel like if you take the time to capture a picture of it, then you know it means something to you at that time. So yeah, do share. And yes, Karen, I'm up for a third year. I'm all in. I'm cannonballing in. And you can just bring up this video if I forget. I don't even know the dates, but I'm in. So going for outdoor walks, the country parks, on the beach. I love that. Robin, I wish I lived near a beach. Oh,
I know. See, Ryan Reed's mentioned family, and Tara, that's one of the ones that you mentioned that you noticed how many pictures you have of your family and like how much joy and happiness that brought to you in 2021.
Yes, my family, we may be small. There's only 3 of us, but I find that when I scroll down my camera roll, the things I take the most pictures of is either me exercising because I want to check my form and I'm constantly perfecting it, or my family. Like my entire camera roll is that, sometimes pizza and sometimes a little bit of food, but most of the time it's one of those 2 things all the way down.
I think that I saw on my camera roll tons of sunsets. So it's like that's important time for me to be able to get out somewhere, and no matter what's going on, go out and enjoy the sunset, capture some pictures of the sunset. Now, one of the things I do is I'm running, trying to time my run at sunset. So it's kind of like knocking off 2 things at once. I'm getting my exercise in, but also enjoying the sunset. I don't see too many sunrises. I need to get better at seeing some of the sunrises, but sunsets for sure. And if I were to think about my travel pictures from speaking events, I did notice that there was a whole lot of barbecue.
Yes, you did have a lot of barbecue. I love barbecue too. I'm a big ribs fan. So one of my pictures for sure is that huge rack of ribs that I ordered. My whole family was just cracking up because Daryl and Caleb's little sandwiches are like this big. And I ordered the full rack knowing I was going to bring some home, but they just like gave me all kinds of grief about it. And Nick had a little niece and she posted a picture of that little angel in the post. That was so much fun. Looks like Robin is enjoying family time. She has a lot of children. How many? I think like 5, maybe. She has a lot of kiddos and is a teacher. So she gets to love on kiddos all the time. Thank you, Kristen. That was a fun little picture we took. I'm a DBC socks on in that picture, by the way, if you're still wanting to look at those socks. They're in our Christmas picture. The whole family had them on. There you go. Dave went and got his. Perfect. Yes, Jay, you have the most beautiful family too. Nick can't believe that I have pictures of CrossFit. She's just blown away.
Yeah, unbelievable. You know, the other thing I noticed in my camera roll, and if you see this on my Instagram feed too, and when I think about it, it is really one of the things that brings me the most joy, and that is the ability to share the messages of so many amazing people. And so there's lots of book selfies and lots of selfies of me with author swag, wearing their book shirts or holding their book up in my backyard. And so getting a chance to spread the message of so many amazing educators is certainly something that brings me a lot of joy. And so that was featured prominently in my camera roll as well.
Yes, Dave is like a walking billboard. If anybody needs anything advertised,
they were repping public schools.
Tonight, he's always repping something. Jeff, that's so awesome that you're so much closer to your school to be able to get home and be able to spend time with your family. I know how important that is. Well, I think my camera roll is going to look a little different next year, Dave. I'm not telling why, but I feel like if you ask me this question a year from today, going to be different.
It's going to be quite a bit different.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I have a feeling before this even happens, I might be sick of hearing about it.
Dave's already like, oh, this is going to take forever. Yes. 5 babies. Yes. 5 children. I think they're big kiddos now. Yes.
Ryan, thanks for
It's
thanks for
difficult.
joining us. Sorry that you have to leave, but like go get out there and enjoy a happy new year for sure.
Diet
Diet Coke.
Coke.
Yeah, definitely Diet Coke. That my tree, I have this section of the tree that's kind of like my section, and there's bacon on the Christmas tree. There's a Diet Coke ornament. There's a DBC ornament, like a Hamilton ornament, and like all these different things that are like sort of like my stuff, things that I love, and so that's a cool section. All right, should we go to question 3?
Go to question 3. These are
All
awesome
right.
answers. I'm trying to get them all up there while he's going on.
So looking back at 2021, you just picked out the stuff that brought you joy and happiness. What's something that you wish you would have done more of? So in 2021, looking back at that whole year, what's something now that you look back and you say, like, you know what? I wish I would have made more time for this. And I think that's a very powerful reflection that we can take. And then, of course, the reverse of that is going to be in 2022. Why don't you intentionally schedule that into your calendar? Prioritize adding more of that. If you don't take control of your schedule, other people will take control of it for you. Things that are blanks, voids, tend to be filled by other people. So sometimes you have to be proactive in making sure that you're putting in the stuff that's going to bring you joy and happiness. So looking back at 2021 was something that you wish you would have done more of.
Yes. So I see a lot of answers here. Like, wish I would have traveled more. Sleeping, Robin, I might be able to help you there. Look up Beam Dream. I take it every night. It's wonderful. I take it with almond milk. It's perfect. It helps me sleep every single night. Completely natural, good stuff. Nothing that's gonna harm you for sure.
Wait, what is this picture? It didn't happen, Dave. Well, I can't remember what I said.
She wants to see the ornaments.
Oh, the tree on the tree. Yeah, for sure.
Before you take them down, you need to post that.
Yep.
More experiences. Yeah, I love that. Sleep, more sleep. Oh man, I'm the queen of sleep now.
Sleep is something I
love
need to get better at. 2022, I'm going to get better at sleep. That's sometimes I share my sleep score, my sleep app stuff, and it's not pretty. That's something that definitely I could get better at.
Yeah, let's all make a focus. It helps you in every area of life to get a good night of sleep. Spending more time with family. I definitely said reading more, Dave. I know that you and I read so much for what we do. We're always reading manuscripts. We're always reading books that are coming out. And our books are amazing. So if you're ever looking for good books, click the link above or below this video. That is our bookstore. If it's not there, I'll make sure it gets there. I'll put it in the comments too. But then we have so many books, and I love reading those books. But sometimes I forget to read for outside of education. And I think it's important that we read outside of education too. Like, we need to fill our minds with some other things too. So I have several books on my Audible that I've downloaded, 17 books actually on my Audible, because I'm so bound in retirement. I'm going to start taking longer walks and listening to those books. But also, I'm reading Shoe Dog right now by Phil Knight. I'm absolutely loving it. Dave, you got to read that book. I think you're going to love it too. And yeah, I'm loving these answers over here. What did you say, Dave, that you want to do more of besides sleep?
Yeah, so mine was reading as well. And so I have this giant stack on my nightstand of books that some I've just barely started, some I'm partway in, some I haven't touched. And so again, also, like, I read a lot of stuff that's the DBC stuff, but I also try to, I even have a podcast, Read Wide, Live Wide is the episode, trying to convince people to read outside of the just education. And I try to do that as well, but I've been kind of struggling to make it through some of those books. And so I need to get a little bit better about time blocking some reading time.
Yes. I saw Robin also mention that she wants to make more time for self. I think it's so important to do exactly what Dave said prior to this. It's just putting it in the calendar. Yeah. I think that's been so helpful for me. It's in my calendar. Dave and Shelley, both my bosses, they have access to my calendar, as does every other team member. And in my calendar, you can see it's blocked off for CrossFit in the afternoon. And when they go to schedule meetings with me or anything, it's like, oh, it just makes people catch it. It also makes me catch it. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm doing that during that time. That's not open. I mean, there are times where I have to move it around because I have to, but I only move it once. If I move it once, that's it. I'm not going to just keep moving it around so I delete it. But making time for yourself, finding that thing that brings you joy. Maybe it's probably not CrossFit, but if it is, do that. If it's something else, then put it in the calendar, put the 30 minutes, put the hour in there. And it's so weird. And I have it I have 6 days a week. It's in my calendar, but just seeing it there lets me know like that is a priority to me. It's not going to get taken up.
Yeah. So I've told this story before, and I apologize because I can't remember her name, but there was a woman, very powerful executive, like creator woman that was talking to Seth Godin, and Seth Godin was talking about her, and she swims every single day, like 365 days a year. She takes her swim. And she was asked, like, how do you, like, you're so busy, you're doing so much stuff. Like, how do you fit your swim in every single day? And she said, no, you don't understand. I don't fit my swim in. I swim every day. Everything else has to fit around it. And so that was her perspective. That was how important it was for her to make sure she got her swim in. And so it's not something that you just like add in or hope can fit. Put in those high priority things first, right? As Covey would call them, the big rocks, right? Put in the big rocks first, and then everything else can fit around it. But make sure you get those big rocks in first.
I believe, Dave, you told that story last year about this time. And that's why this whole 2021, I've had that in my calendar. And there's been so many days that I just see it there and I'm like, so dumb. Like, why don't I just take that out? I know I'm going to go every single day, but there's just something about it already being there and the time being blocked off. And also there are 170 authors that have access to my calendar too, that can schedule me for any kind of author coaching and stuff. So it's great to have it blocked off. Like that's not a time where she's actually available. She's going to be available at these other times. So doing it for you. And then later, if you ever share your calendar with people, I mean, just having it there, it's a priority to you.
So the 4 kids, I can't imagine who she's talking about with the 4 kids thing.
I don't know. I don't know how to relate to that either, Nick. I'm so sorry. I feel terrible.
She does such a great job of fitting in so much stuff that it's almost like a superhuman. So
yes,
you are doing fantastic, and you're
killing it. Yeah. But you do need to make time for self. I don't know how it's got to happen, but just make sure that gets in there somehow too, because it's very important. Dave, so what's this last question? I know we're running close to our time here.
All right. So the question 4, this is a good one. Looking forward to 2022. What do you want to do less of next year? So if you're going to be adding all these things that bring you joy and happiness and more of it, and intentionally scheduling things, those big rocks and all that, sometimes something has to go. So what do you want to do intentionally less of in 2022? I love that question.
Yeah. And I think Monica hit it, the nail on the head here when she said, I don't know how I could do more things in 24 hours in a day, but probably helping others would be something more I could do. So here, Monica, we need to think of some things we can take out so you can do more of the things that you enjoy. We started the lives. That's a good question. While you guys are coming up with your answer of what you're going to do less of, I'm going to answer this question. We started the lives at the very end of 2020. It's like September or something like that. And we ended up like really liking them, and you guys really like them. So we continued them on, and I think it's just going to be a thing. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah. So I think the start of it was that we felt like we were losing the ability to connect with our community because of COVID. Mm-hmm. And we weren't getting out and traveling and speaking and not around at conferences and districts and schools and all that, and really wanted an opportunity to be able to build community and still connect with people. And so that's where the Facebook Lives came from. It's just a kind of an outreach program to our community and to provide something super cool, hopefully useful for them, even though we couldn't go around and be at conferences with people.
Yeah, we really wanted to be able to like have more opportunities for you guys to win free books and get books in your hands and see the authors too. Sometimes, just hearing and seeing the author is we've found that you guys really enjoy that. It just puts a face to the words behind the book. And so having the authors on here and being able to give you guys a book every Thursday night is just so fun.
I see Kevin's popped in here. What's up, Kevin? If you have any interest in 3D printing, Kevin's your man. Kevin just put out a book recently on how to use 3D printing at your school, in your system. And so if you have any interest in that, check out Kevin's work. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
We have a lot of not worrying, not taking work home, mindless scrolling on social media. Oh man, I feel attacked.
Totally.
I need to do less of that too, Amy.
It's like they have a camera on me, a security camera on me.
Are you watching us? Oh my gosh. Mandatory to apartment meetings. Yes, less of those. Send an email. Come on.
Listen, Amy, less time on social media. I agree. That's one of my goals too, but I just want to be, I don't want to leave social media. It's kind of like there's this, I think it's called the Pareto principle, an 80-20 breakdown. And where I want to try to find that 20%, which is bringing me 80% of my impact on social media and enjoyment of social media, and kind of maybe eliminate some of that 80% that's not as effective. And so kind of that's one of the things that Tim Ferriss, by the way, we've already done the fourth question. So I'll tell you how Tim does this. So Tim Ferriss, he just put out a podcast episode on this recently too, on his end of the year review. And what he does is he goes back through his calendar and he has two columns, things that brought him the most peak experiences, like positive peak experiences, and those that brought him the most like negative kind of experiences. And he keeps track in two columns like this. Then he goes back through and picks out his top 20% in the peak experiences, top 20% of things which were kind of a negative experience for him. And then he makes sure that he gets less of that one column and more of the other. So he kind of does kind of an 80-20 analysis on his year, looking at peak experiences and negative experiences. So I think that's another kind of powerful way to look back. But all of this is, so much of the focus right now is on New Year's resolutions. And so what we're asking you to do is in the next couple of days, make sure that some of your focus goes backwards too, and you draw some lessons and some things from powerfully reflecting back.
Yes, totally. And your answers are so beautiful. With mindless scrolling, gosh, I need to do less of that as well. And then I like this one that Amy had here. And I think this is why a lot of people will think, oh my gosh, I got to spend less time on social media, because they start to compare themselves to other people that are on social media. And we have actually talked in depth about this topic on here on a live with Dave and I before. But just please, going into the new year, just please know that like what you see, I try to keep it pretty real on my social media posts, especially in my stories. If you follow my stories versus just the things that like get stuck on the timeline, that's a highlight reel. Like that's the good stuff, right? That's the stuff that people are wanting to share. And it's important that we just kind of find where we are and help ourselves to grow to the next level. If you could ever develop that beginner's mindset, no matter where you're at, you're wanting to start walking, you're wanting to start doing whatever it is that you want to start doing. You want to write a book, you want to, whatever it is that you understand, you got to start somewhere. And all the people out there have started somewhere. So just try so much not to compare yourself. I know that it's just really hard to do, but I really hope that more people will start to do that, because I find that they will find so much more joy just chasing their own PRs, their own personal records, their own personal gains. Less complaining. Yes, I know. Such a tough thing to do sometimes when things just all around us are looking negative, but finding those things too that bring you joy, try to do a little more of that. I know everybody's talking about the Pirate Con. It's making me sad.
The lost experience shirt. Yeah. One of the other casualties of the pandemic, the Pirate Con.
Oh man. We need to all get together someplace though, sometime at some place.
Yeah, Megan, comparison is the thief of joy. Yes. I love that quote.
We actually never do the New Year's resolutions, and we are like 5 minutes over. But if you guys want to stick around just a tad longer, you don't have to cook dinner or something. Whoa, that covered up our whole face. Sorry, Kevin. That was a big one. We would love to share just what we do instead. So, Dave, you want to go first?
Yeah. So for me, if you're interested in kind of my thoughts on looking forward, my last episode of the Dave Burgess Show podcast was called Play Your Drum. And it's kind of my take on this. And I'm always trying to follow my energy and what's bringing me the most positive energy. What is it that's when I'm doing it, times kind of seems to disappear. What is it that I can't wait to clear off all this other stuff so I can finally get to this? What is it that's bringing me that energy? And then I follow that and try to add more of that into my life. And so for me, I call it playing your drum, finding your drum and then playing your drum to the best of your ability. And it goes, I kind of have a reflection on that as my favorite Christmas carol, The Little Drummer Boy. It's only 5 minutes long. And so I hope that you will find and play your drum more in 2022.
I'm
How
going to
about you,
grab
Tara?
your show link real quick. So keep talking.
Yeah. Okay. While Tara's doing that, I'm going to tell you real quickly what the other questions were that Jay Shetty had in his podcast. There were 9. We used 4 of them tonight. We used 4 of them in TLAP chat, but I just wanted to run down the other ones real quickly. So he also wanted you to go back and say what made you unhappy in 2021. So you took like a little the other focus on what made you unhappy. That kind of goes to what Tim Ferriss was doing too, right? Looking at those things. He also wanted to know what your biggest success was. Reflect back on what is your biggest success of 2021, and also a moment you failed. To think about a moment you failed and try to see what kind of lessons you could draw from that failure as you head forward into 2022. And then something that you want to learn in 2022. So looking forward in 2022, what is something that you want to learn, that you want to add to your toolbox, right? And then the last one was, what is your favorite way to refuel? And then, of course, the obvious connection there is once you determine your favorite ways to refuel, make sure you get those into your schedule, into your calendar, into your life in 2022, because boy, do we need to do a lot of refueling in education.
Yeah, I love that. So for me, Dave, I usually share this at the very end. Tomorrow, my whole family of 3, will sit around and we have a note on our phone that's called our bucket list. So we have a family bucket list, then Daryl has a bucket list, I have a bucket list, and Caleb has a bucket list. And what
Well,
we
all three of you can fit around this table?
We can all 3 fit around our table for 6
It
here.
must be a giant table.
That we've never fill up every once in a while. But what we do is we just go down it and we list all the things we add to the list. So any place we've thought of that we want to go, anything we want to try to do, we just add it to the list and we check off all the things that we did in 2021. So we take the little emoji green check and we put a check by all the things that we did. And then we sit around and look at our new list with the checked off things, and nothing gets erased. It just gets a little check beside it. So we can see all the stuff that we've already done in the past years. And then we just go through the things that have no checks and we say, okay, so for family vacation next year, what do we want to do? We'll want to look at all 3 of our lists and see what we have in common or what we're willing to compromise. Like the boys really want to go here and maybe I don't really want to go there, but kind of do. Okay, let's just do that for our bucket list. But usually we can find something that we all have in common and we can all go there we plan our family vacation based off of our bucket list. So that's kind of what we do instead of New Year's resolution. We also put little stars beside anything else we want to try to do in 2021. So like this year, we're thinking like one of the things all of us have is skydiving. So we might all try to do skydiving at some point during the year. Caleb's finally old enough that I don't feel too scared. And yeah, so yeah, that's kind of what we do.
Make sure you get all your work done before you do that skydiving.
Yeah, of course. And I'll give you all my passwords, Dave, just in case.
Yeah, please do. All right. So I want to address, Jeff asked if we could send these questions out, what great journal topics for kids. I agree. These would be great things for kids to reflect on too. And again, I want to give credit to where I got them from and where you can find them. This is on the On Purpose with Jay Shetty podcast. It's one of his last episodes, 9 meaningful questions. And in the show notes, he even lists out the questions with the timestamps of when he talks about that question and all that. So that is probably the best and easiest way for you to grab a hold of these questions if you're looking for them written out or want to hear him talk about it in depth on his podcast.
Totally. We'll make sure we include that link over in the comment section after the show as well. So yeah, these are fun. These are great ideas. So yeah, things you want to do before you exactly.
Tara, I think what I'm most impressed with the bucket list thing, I mean, obviously a bucket list thing is not new, but what I think is really cool is that it's something that you've made into a family activity that you look at all together. and discuss together and think about how you can, as a group, help each other accomplish those things. And so I think adding that kind of group component, that family component, is really powerful.
It's so fun. It's so fun. And we've taken some really great trips from it, just that we all have the same thing that we want to do. And yeah. And it's nice too, because once you do all have the same thing, like we all wanted to go to the CrossFit Games. So we all went to the CrossFit Games past year. And we all have that in common. We all loved it. It was probably our best vacation. We didn't have to worry about wondering if everyone was entertained. Like everyone, I mean, there's only 3 of us, but all 3 of us loved everything that was happening. And that doesn't always happen. But when you plan your vacation like this, it's so nice because you kind of look at the commonalities and like, okay, let's check some of these things off. One whack family vacation. And then what else do we want to check off kind of on our own?
Hey, so as we're wrapping up here, this is our last Facebook Live of the year. And so we wanted to thank all of you for being a part of our community, for tuning in with us over the course of the last year. And we're so inspired by you and all the work that you do. And we love to help. Hopefully this is something that you find useful, these Thursday night lives. And we wish you an unbelievably happy new year. And we can't wait to come back and connect with you again in 2022.
So Dave, we're getting a lot of these. And I know you mentioned that we would mention the podcast, but why don't maybe we'll just commit to doing a little recap on our blog, putting this video in there, and then also tagging in Jay Shetty's podcast and all of the things that he shared. Then you guys can just have one central location where you can go to the blog. So do check our website tomorrow, daveburgessconsulting.com. We'll get something up on the blog, including this and listing out those questions and also giving credit where they're due. So if you're wanting to use these with your kids when you go back, totally think that would be a great idea.
Yeah. We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. By the way, someone will get chosen. Sorry. Someone's going to get chosen to win a book. So if you're new here, I know we have some new members here, including Robin. Not Robin McLean, Robin, my sister. She's new in here. So you will get chosen tomorrow morning, tomorrow midday. We will list under the comments who is the winner of the free book. So do check that out. All right.
That's so powerful, Tara. You're like, you will get chosen tomorrow morning.
Somebody will get chosen. It's going to happen. So stay tuned. All right. Bye, everyone. Have a happy new year.
Happy New Year, everybody.